Ethan Carter stood quietly on the observation deck of the spaceship Avalon. He watched the stars pass slowly, bright lights glowing in the darkness of space. Ethan was young, but already an experienced warrior known for bravery. Avalon was on a mission to improve friendship between Earth and other worlds. Ethan liked this task because he wanted to see peace in the galaxy. Suddenly, an urgent message came through Avalon speakers. It was a distress signal from Zaloria, an alien planet they knew little about. The voice sounded desperate and afraid. Captain Laura Mitchell quickly decided Avalon must go and help. When Avalon arrived near Zaloria, the crew saw ships damaged and floating helplessly. It was clear there had been an attack. Ethan and a small group took a smaller ship down to the planet's surface. When they landed, Zalorian soldiers greeted them. They had never seen humans before, so everyone was careful and respectful. "Please hurry," said a Zalorian named Goran. "Our princess Lyra is badly hurt. Without help, she will die." Ethan quickly followed Goran into a building. Inside, Princess Lyra lay weak and pale, her silvery skin bruised and her breathing shallow. Zalorian doctors looked worried. "We tried everything," one doctor said sadly. "Her blood is unique. We cannot help her anymore." Ethan remembered that Avalon had special equipment for medical emergencies. He quickly called his ship. "Bring down our medical tools," Ethan said, "and hurry." Minutes later, human medical officers brought equipment into the room. Dr. Karen Brooks carefully examined the princess. "Her blood is rare, but humans might match." "It enough," Karen said, looking up. "Does anyone want to give blood? It might save her life, but it could be dangerous." Ethan didn't think twice. He stepped forward and said, "I will do it." Karen carefully connected Ethan to Princess Lyra with thin tubes. His red human blood slowly flowed into her silvery veins. Everyone in the room waited anxiously, hoping this would work. Ethan felt tired but stayed strong, determined to help. Slowly, Lyra's breathing became steadier. Her eyes fluttered open, a gentle glow returning to her face. Everyone smiled in relief. Ethan felt strangely connected to Lyra as she opened her eyes and looked directly at him. "Thank you," she whispered weakly. "You're welcome," Ethan replied quietly, smiling softly. Over the next few hours, Lyra got stronger. The Zalorians were amazed by the speed of her recovery. The human blood had saved her life in a way they had never imagined possible. Both the humans and Zalorians felt excitement and hope for the future. This simple act had done more than medicine. Captain Mitchell came to see Ethan. "You've done something incredible," she said warmly. "You saved a life and maybe even created peace between our two worlds." Ethan nodded, feeling proud but humble. He stayed near Princess Lyra, fascinated by her kindness and strength. As she grew stronger, they talked. Ethan learned about Zaloria's history and culture, and Lyra learned about Earth. They found that they had many hopes and dreams in common. They laughed softly together, feeling comfortable and happy in each other's company. But soon, Ethan realized something else. He felt different. Somehow, he could sense what Lyra felt: her happiness, her sadness, and even her fears. He realized they shared a mysterious connection now. It was not just friendship. It was deeper, something neither had expected. "Can you feel it too?" Ethan finally asked her one evening. "Yes," Lyra answered softly, looking amazed. "I feel connected to you. Your blood has given me more than life. It has given me a part of you." Ethan nodded thoughtfully. He knew their connection would mean something important for both of their worlds. Together, they could create a future filled with peace and understanding. For now, though, Ethan felt happy just to sit beside Lyra, looking up at the bright Zalorian sky. He had come here to save a life, but had found something much more special, a bond that could change everything. He knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but with Lyra beside him, Ethan felt ready for anything. In the days that followed Princess Lyra's remarkable recovery, Ethan Carter stayed close to her side. Zaloria, a beautiful and peaceful planet, now buzzed with excitement about the humans who had arrived to help. The news of Ethan giving his blood to save the princess spread quickly, and many Zalorians began to trust the humans more deeply. Lyra was fully healed and showed Ethan around her city Erin. The buildings were made of soft white stone that reflected sunlight brightly. Beautiful gardens filled with strange and colorful flowers were everywhere, and Ethan felt amazed at how peaceful everything felt. As they walked, Ethan realized the strange bond between them had become stronger. He could feel Lyra's emotions clearly. When she was happy, he felt happy too. When she was worried, he felt it deep inside himself. Lyra, noticing his puzzled look, smiled gently. "Our connection grows," she said softly. "I think it's a gift from your blood. It helps us understand each other better." Ethan nodded, thoughtful. "Yes, it's special. It helps us trust each other." Soon, Ethan met Lyra's father, King Darren, a wise and respected leader. The king greeted Ethan warmly. "You saved my daughter," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "Your courage has given our worlds a chance for true friendship." Ethan bowed politely. "I was glad to help, Your Majesty. I hope our people become good friends." The king nodded with a warm smile. Ethan felt happy that his small act of kindness could mean so much, but not everyone in Zaloria felt happy. A Zalorian named Varric, one of King Darren's top advisors, was quietly worried. Varric did not trust humans. Secretly, he was making plans against them. He believed humans wanted to take over Zaloria. One day, as Ethan and Lyra explored a beautiful lake surrounded by glowing purple trees, they sensed danger through their bond. Lyra's eyes widened. "Ethan, I feel something bad is happening," she whispered nervously. "Yes, I feel it too," Ethan said, alert. They quickly moved behind a tree and listened carefully. They overheard Varric talking quietly with two strangers, members of a hostile alien race known as Kyrax. "The humans will ruin Zaloria," Varric hissed angrily. "We must remove them before it's too late." Ethan felt shocked and worried. He squeezed Lyra's hand gently, signaling her to stay quiet. "We will help you," one Kyrax replied coldly. "Together, we will force the humans to leave." After the group left, Ethan and Lyra hurried back to the palace. They quickly informed King Darren about what they had heard. The king was deeply troubled. "Varric is powerful," he said sadly. "We must find clear proof before we can act. If we accuse him wrongly, it will make things worse." Ethan and Lyra decided they must find the truth themselves. Together, they began to secretly watch Varric, trying to learn more about his plans. One evening, Ethan followed Varric carefully, keeping hidden in shadows. He saw Varric meeting again with the Kyrax, giving them information about Avalon's defenses. Suddenly, a guard spotted Ethan and shouted. Ethan ran quickly, barely escaping capture. When he returned safely, Lyra was waiting anxiously. "Are you hurt?" she asked, worry in her eyes. "I'm fine," Ethan reassured her. "But now Varric knows we're suspicious." Lyra nodded, concerned but determined. "We must keep going. We must protect our worlds." They decided to ask Captain Mitchell and the Avalon crew for help. The humans promised to support them fully. Trust between Zalorians and humans deepened even more as they faced this threat together. Ethan and Lyra felt their bond strengthening even further through these challenges. They could communicate without words, sensing each other's thoughts and feelings clearly. One night, while looking at Zaloria's sparkling night sky, Ethan turned to Lyra. "Do you think our connection will help us save both our worlds?" Ethan asked. "Yes," Lyra said softly, her eyes bright with hope. "Our bond is powerful. Together, we can face anything." They stood side by side, feeling calm and ready to face the dangers ahead. They knew their growing friendship, strengthened by the mysterious bond Ethan's blood had created, would be their greatest strength. With hearts united, Ethan and Lyra prepared to stop the conspiracy, determined to ensure peace and friendship between humans and Zalorians. Their journey was only beginning, but their courage gave them hope. Ethan Carter could not sleep. The stars above Zaloria shined brightly, but his mind was filled with worry. He and Princess Lyra had discovered something dangerous. Varric, one of the king's most trusted advisors, was working with the enemy. The Kyrax were planning something big, and Varric was helping them. The next morning, Ethan met Lyra in the palace garden. She looked calm, but Ethan could feel her fear through their strange connection. Lyra took his hand gently. "We need to find proof," she said. "Without proof, no one will believe us." Ethan nodded. "We have to act fast. Varric is already watching me." They came up with a plan. Lyra would stay inside the palace and try to learn more by speaking to the servants and guards. Ethan would go to the spaceport, where Varric had secret meetings. They hoped to catch him passing information to the Karakeas dot at the spaceport. Ethan hid behind large metal crates. He watched carefully. Hours passed. Finally, Varric arrived. He was carrying a small glowing device. Ethan pulled out his tiny camera and took pictures. A Kyrax ship landed quietly. 2 tall gray aliens stepped out. Varric handed them the device and whispered something. Ethan couldn't hear, but he saw enough. He ran back to the palace with the pictures. Lyra met him in her room. She looked serious. "Did you get anything?" Ethan showed her the photos. He gave the Kyrax something. "We need to show this to your father." But when they went to see the king, they found bad news waiting. Varric had spoken to the king first. He had told the king that Ethan was a spy and that he had been caught sneaking around the spaceport. "Ethan, I trusted you," the king said, looking disappointed. "Why were you near the spaceport last night?" Ethan tried to explain, but Varric interrupted. "He is lying," Varric said calmly. "He wants to turn Zaloria against its own people." The guards grabbed Ethan. Lyra shouted, "Wait! He is innocent!" But the king raised his hand. "Until I learn the full truth, Ethan must be kept in a holding cell." Ethan was taken away. Lyra's heart broke. She could feel Ethan's sadness and confusion through their bond. Later that night, Lyra sneaked into the holding area. The guards knew her and let her in. She sat beside Ethan. "I'm sorry," she said. "I should have warned my father earlier." "It's not your fault," Ethan replied. "We still have the photos." "Show them to someone you trust." Lyra nodded. "I know someone who can help." The next morning, Lyra met quietly with an old friend, Talia, a palace engineer. Talia was smart and honest. She looked at the photos and gasped. "That device is a code breaker," Talia said. "It can be used to open our defense systems. If the Kyrax have it, they can attack easily." Together, they made a copy of the photos and a video message. Talia agreed to share the truth with the palace council. While Lyra and Talia worked, Varric prepared his next move. He wanted to get rid of Lyra before she could prove anything. He sent his guards to search for her. Lyra hid in the old library. Ethan, feeling her fear through their bond, used his strength to escape. He knocked out the guard and ran to the library. He found Lyra just in time. "We have to get out of here," Ethan said. "You're in danger." They used a secret tunnel that led to the garden. Talia met them there with a small shuttle. They escaped into the sky, heading to the outer villages, where Zalorians lived peacefully and away from palace politics. In the village of Darren, they were welcomed by kind people. Lyra told them the truth. Many of them believed her. The village leader agreed to help. They sent messages to other villages, asking for support. As more people learned about Varric's lies, they began to question the king's judgment. Support for Lyra and Ethan grew. They now have friends willing to stand beside them. Ethan looked at Lyra one evening as they sat by a fire. "We're not alone anymore," he said. "No," Lyra said. "And together, we will stop them." Their bond had led them into danger, but it had also brought them hope. With truth and courage, they were ready to fight for their worlds. Ethan and Lyra stayed in the quiet village of Darren. The people there gave them food and shelter. Some of the villagers fixed the shuttle they had used to escape. Others spread the message to nearby towns. News of Varek's betrayal began to move quickly. More and more Zalorians started to believe in Lyra and Ethan. They remembered how Ethan had given his blood to save their princess. That act had shown his honesty. And now many Zalorians were ready to help them. One night, as the fire cracked in the village center, Lyra spoke to the gathered people. "We are not safe," she said. "Varek wants power. He is working with the Kyrax. They will destroy everything if we do not stop them." The people nodded. Some were angry. Some were afraid. But they all knew the truth had to come out. The next day, a message came from Talia. She had managed to share the proof with one of the Palace Council leaders, Eldoren. He was wise and respected. "He believes us," Talia said through the video. "Call. He will speak to the king, but it may not be enough." Ethan frowned. "Then we must return. We need to show the people ourselves." Lyra agreed. "But we cannot walk into the palace. Varek will try to stop us." Together, they came up with a plan. With the help of the villagers, they would go to the capital and speak at the public square. If the people saw them and heard the truth, they would listen. A group of villagers joined them. They rode in small shuttles, flying low to stay hidden. When they reached the capital, they landed near the city walls and entered on foot. Inside the city, many Zalorians looked surprised to see Lyra. They whispered to each other. Some smiled. Some were confused. Lyra held her head high. When they reached the main square, Ethan and Lyra stepped onto the center stage. A large crowd began to gather. The people waited to hear what they had to say. Lyra spoke first. Her voice was strong. "My people, I was saved by a human who gave his blood to me. That act created a bond between us. It showed me the strength of love and courage." She paused. "But now our world is in danger. Varek is working with the Kyrax. He gave them a device that can break our defenses. He lied to you and to the king." People gasped. Some shouted in disbelief. Others looked angry. Ethan stepped forward and held up a small device. "This is proof," he said. "Photos and recordings of Varek meeting with the Kyrax. We are not your enemies. We came to help." The crowd grew louder. Some guards came forward, unsure what to do. But before they could act, Elder Wren arrived. "Let them speak," he said firmly. "I have seen the proof. What they say is true." At that moment, Varek appeared with a group of armed guards. He looked calm, but his eyes were cold. "This is a trick," Varek said loudly. "They lied to turn you against your leaders. Arrest them." But the people did not move. The guards looked confused. Some lowered their weapons. Elder Wren stood between them. "Enough," he said. "You have been caught, Varek. There is no more hiding." Varek growled and reached for a weapon, but Ethan moved fast. He tackled Varek to the ground. The crowd cheered as guards stepped forward and took Varek away. Lyra felt tears in her eyes. She looked at Ethan, and he smiled at her. Their plan had worked. The truth was out. Later that evening, King Darren met with them in private. He looked tired but relieved. "I was wrong," he said. "I let fear and lies guide me. You have both shown great courage." Lyra placed her hand on her father's. "We must be ready. The Kyrax will come. We need to unite with the humans." The king nodded. "Yes, together we will be stronger." Ethan looked out the window at the stars. He knew the fight was not over. The Kyrax were still out there, but now they had truth, allies, and hope. And he had Lyra by his side. He felt their bond grow deeper. It was not just because of his blood. It was because they believed in the same future. A future where humans and Zalorians stood together, side by side. After Varek was arrested, peace returned to the palace. But the danger was not over. The Kyrax were still out there, and they were planning something worse. Ethan and Lyra knew the enemy would not stop. The Codebreaker device had already been given to the Kyrax. They could attack any time Captain Laura Mitchell from the spaceship Avalon came to the palace. She met with King Darren, Ethan, Lyra, and the council. She brought a serious message. "We picked up strange signals near your border," she said. "The Kyrax are gathering their fleet." Lyra looked at her father. "They will attack soon. We must be ready." The king nodded. "We will fight, but we must not fight alone." Captain Mitchell agreed. "The humans will stand with you. We are ready to help." All across Zaloria, people prepared for war. Villages and cities worked together. Humans and Zalorians trained side by side. Ethan and Lyra traveled to many towns, speaking to the people. Giving them courage. In one town, a young Zalorian boy asked Ethan, "Are you scared?" Ethan smiled gently. "Yes, sometimes. But courage means doing what is right, even when you're scared. And I know we are not alone." The boy smiled back. People began to feel hope. Meanwhile, Lyra spent time with the engineers and scientists. She wanted to learn everything she could about their defense systems. She also shared ideas from human technology. Together, they built shields and new weapons to protect the cities. One evening, while Ethan and Lyra looked at the stars, she asked, "Do you think we'll win?" Ethan looked at her with calm eyes. "We have to. Not just for us, but for everyone who believes in peace." Their bond was even stronger now. They didn't need to speak to understand each other. It gave them strength. Soon, a message came from a Zalorian scout ship. The Kyrak fleet was close. They would arrive in 3 days. The capital city prepared for the worst. Avalon moved into orbit above Zaloria, ready to defend. Ethan joined the battle team. Lyra stayed in the command room with her father. They stayed in contact through their special connection. On the first day of the battle, dark ships filled the sky. The Kyrax fired energy blasts, shaking the ground. But Zaloria was ready. Energy shields protected the cities, and human ships fought bravely beside them. Ethan led a small team on the ground. They stopped Kyrak landing pods before they could reach the people. He moved fast, giving orders and protecting others. His bravery gave hope to everyone. Lyra watched the battle from the control room. She felt every fear and pain Ethan felt. But she also felt his strength, and it gave her power too. On the second day, the battle grew harder. The Kyrax broke through part of the defense line. Fires burned, and many were hurt. Ethan's team was caught in a heavy attack. One of his team members, a young soldier named Ray, was injured. "We can't leave him," Ethan said. He carried Ray on his back and fought his way out. When Lyra saw this through a screen, tears came to her eyes. "He never gives up," she whispered. By the third day, both sides were tired, but Zalorians and humans kept fighting together. Then something happened that changed everything. One of the Zalorian engineers discovered a weakness in the Kyrak flagship. If they could destroy it, the rest of the fleet would retreat. Ethan volunteered. "I'll do it. I know their patterns now." Lyra didn't want him to go, but she knew she couldn't stop him. She gave him a small charm made from Zalorian crystal. "Come back to me," she said. "I will," Ethan promised. Ethan and a small group flew toward the flagship. They dodged fire and entered the ship. Inside, they placed energy bombs near the main core. The Kyrax found them, and a fight broke out. Ethan was hit, but he kept going. He pressed the final button and shouted, "Go, go, go!" They escaped just before the explosion. The Kyrak flagship burst into flames and fell from the sky. The rest of the fleet began to retreat. Cheers rang out. Across Zaloria, the people cried with joy. The battle was over. Lyra rushed to the landing area and saw Ethan, bruised but alive. She ran to him and hugged him tightly. "You kept your promise," she said. "I always will," Ethan replied. The people of Zaloria cheered for their heroes. The bond between humans and Zalorians had been tested and proven strong. Together, they had protected their home. But Ethan and Lyra knew their journey was not finished. A new future was beginning, and they would face it together. The people of Zaloria celebrated for days after the battle. Lights filled the sky, and music played in the streets. Both humans and Zalorians danced and laughed together. The war had brought them closer. Their teamwork had saved the planet. Ethan sat quietly in the garden behind the palace. He watched the stars and thought about everything that had happened. He felt proud but also tired. The battle had taken much from him. Still, he knew it was worth it. Lyra joined him. She sat beside him and smiled. "You look like you've been thinking. Just remembering," Ethan said. "So many people fought bravely. So many gave everything." "You gave everything too," she said softly. "You helped save us all." Ethan looked at her. "We did it together. You gave me strength." Their bond had grown stronger after the battle. They could still feel each other's thoughts and emotions. Sometimes they did not need words. In the days that followed, leaders from Earth arrived. They met with King Darren and the Zalorian Council. Talks began about a deep alliance between the two worlds. Trade, science, defense, and education were discussed. Both sides wanted to build something new and strong. Ethan and Lyra were asked to speak to the people. A large crowd gathered in the capital square. People from many villages came. Even some who had once doubted the humans were there. Lyra stood tall and spoke first. "We stood together in battle. We trusted each other. And now we must build together. Zaloria is not alone. Earth is our friend." Then Ethan spoke. "I came here as a soldier, but now I feel like a brother. You showed me kindness, and I gave you my help. That is what peace is made of, helping each other." The crowd clapped and cheered. It was clear the people believed in this new friendship. But while most of Zaloria celebrated peace, not everyone felt the same. Some groups still feared humans. A few small protests happened in the outer regions. Some believed the humans would try to control Zaloria. Lyra and Ethan decided to visit those areas. They spoke with the leaders and the people. They listened to their worries and answered with honesty. Slowly, hearts began to change. One day they visited a school in the village of Kalen. Children sat in a circle, asking questions. "Why do humans look different from us?" One child asked. Ethan smiled. "Because we were born on different worlds. But we all feel the same things. We laugh. We cry. We hope. We dream." The children nodded and smiled. A teacher later told Lyra, "You are showing them the future, a better one." Meanwhile, plans for a joint space center began. It would be built in orbit, with humans and Zalorians working side by side. Ethan and Lyra were asked to help lead it. They agreed. Construction began quickly. Ships from Earth brought supplies. Zalorian builders and engineers joined the effort. The center would be a place for science, peace, and protection. One evening, as they watched the new space center take shape in the sky, Lyra turned to Ethan. "You think we're ready for this next step?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, we've already come so far. Now we build something that will last." But just as things seemed perfect, new trouble arrived. A small Kyrax ship was found hiding near Zaloria's moon. It was damaged and weak. The crew was captured. Ethan and Lyra went to see them. One of the Kyrax, older and tired, looked at them. With sad eyes, "We were left behind," he said. "The others do not care about peace. They are planning something worse." Ethan looked at Lyra. "We can't ignore this," Lyra agreed. "We must be ready again." They returned to the palace and told the council. It was decided that a new defense team would be made. Humans and Zalorians would work together to protect their worlds from future threats. Ethan was asked to lead the training. Lyra would help build the communication systems. They accepted their new roles with pride. As they stood in the garden again, watching the sky, Lyra said, "It feels like this is only the beginning." "Yes," Ethan said. "A new beginning." Together, they faced the stars, knowing that whatever came next, they would face it as one.